But, maybe at the end of the day, somebody does start looking more at proof of work versions of Ethereum, because the SEC claims now that the US government has jurisdiction over the Ethereum network. This is absolute insanity. Now, we've been saying this since the beginning. Why is this, right? Well, you have Ethereum moving to proof of stake. Proof of stake doesn't pass the Howey test, and not passing the Howey test means that you go from a commodity, which technically Gensler and the SEC said Ethereum was pre-proof of stake, right, to now being a security post proof of stake. And then on top of that, a majority of your consensus is run on AWS, which is an Amazon service, and that is going to be regulated by a U.S. company, which is a U.S. country, or which is then regulated by, U.S. government. And then you have this interesting position where now, obviously, the SEC kind of does have the ability to do this. Now, at the end of the day, can it enforce it? That's a whole other question that we could get into, but let's talk about this. This is a report from Watcher.guru. Ethereum has been one of the most talked about cryptocurrencies over the past few weeks, with major updates like the merge taking place. Apart from this, the network's transition into proof of stake has been fueling rumors about ETH being categorized as a security. Now, further strengthening this argument, the SEC, in a lawsuit against crypto influencer Ian Bellina, claimed that ETH transactions automatically fall under the U.S. government's jurisdiction due to the majority of the nodes being run in one country. What the f*** did I tell you guys was going to happen? And everybody was like, no, that's ridiculous, blah, 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 and Amazon's in other countries and blah, blah, blah. The exact reasoning that I said this would happen is happening. And it's extremely frustrating that nobody was concerned about this beforehand. Once again, I'm going to reiterate this. ETH transactions automatically fall under the U.S. government's jurisdiction due to the majority of nodes being run in one country. I mean, at this point, what did they do? I mean, is this, like, how much of this is just planned out from the get-go? I feel like I need to throw on a tinfoil hat. What do we see happen? Like, bam, bam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, like all in a row. Right before we have the merge, the White House comes out and says we want to work on banning proof of work. Why is that? Because proof of work is, at its base, creates a commodity and prevents it from being regulated as a security. Right after that, Ethereum moves from proof of work to proof of stake, which is then followed up by the SEC clarifying that proof of stake is a security and not a commodity, followed up by the White House releasing their plan to essentially deploy a central bank digital currency and start regulating proof of work more heavily. In addition to that, they say that their CBDC will directly integrate with some sort of blockchain that will provide some sort of asset tracking. What is that asset tracking? What's the most number one highest rated blockchain for asset tracking right now? Well, that's Ethereum. So what do they got to do right after that? Guess what? Bam, let's throw US government jurisdiction right onto Ethereum. What do you end up with at the end of the day? A CBDC controlled, of course, by the federal government that then is tied into Ethereum for asset tracking, and Ethereum is completely controlled by the U.S. government. Taking my tinfoil hat off now, let's continue the article. Bellina was sued for allegedly offering unregistered tokens. He was caught in trouble after he failed to register his project as a security before rolling out an initial coin offering in 2018. The crypto influencer outrightly denied these claims. However, the crypto community is currently speculating on the SEC's massive statement in the lawsuit. So why is this important? Because yes, we are talking about an individual situation that has happened here, but the precedence that's being set within this court case and within this lawsuit is the important part, right? And it's hilarious too, because this is according to the 69th paragraph. The lawsuit stated that it had the right to sue Bolina because the SEC had jurisdiction over the Ethereum network. It was reported that a variety of US-based investors participated in the Bolina curated investment pool. A network of Ethereum blockchain nodes further verified a number of ETH contributions. Due to this, the SEC stated, quote, ETH contribution or contributors were validated by a network of nodes on the Ethereum blockchain, which are clustered more densely in the United States than in any other country. As a result, those transactions took place in the United States. Additionally, it should be noted that at the present, 42.56% of, or 340 of the 7,819 Ethereum nodes reside in the US. What is this number in relation to as well? What is that 42%? That 42% is all AWS, my friends. And the centralization didn't start, of course, with the actual move to proof of stake. It started way before that with the release of the beacon chain, right? So inevitably, like, this is something long in the making that is coming to a head now, which is why they can use this, set this precedent from back in 2018, right? This is why they can continue to do that. Will this statement take a toll on the Ethereum network is the question. The Ethereum network has been dealing with immense backlash following the merge. As mentioned earlier, some were suggesting that the network would fall under the SEC's purview, as it would now be considered a security. A few others, on the other hand, were taking digs at ETH's level of decentralization. Amidst all of this, the latest statement made by the SEC would be detrimental to the network. Even though several legal professionals noted that the complaint's phrasing would have no legal significance, it would nevertheless be noticed. So some people are saying it wouldn't have legal precedence. So how is that? No, I mean, at the end of the day, like Adam Cochran says here, rather than take on a simple case, the SEC is trying to use this to set precedent, claiming that all of crypto is under the SEC's jurisdiction. No, it's trying to claim that Ethereum is under, all of Ethereum is under SEC's. I mean, I disagree. I think it's specifically because, as we've seen, they've already said that Bitcoin was a commodity. Now, initially, they said that Ethereum was a commodity too. But now with this move, and then because of the way the nodes are centralized within the United States, the SEC is that they're saying essentially that they have control over the network. Oh man, guys, this is absolute insanity. Obviously, we're going to be covering this on this channel and following it. I'd like to hear how you guys feel about this. Is Ethereum like a lost cause at this point? Like, is it one of those things where you just say, okay, well, this is done. Obviously, this experiment is over. You know, we have fallen back into traditional finance. You know, institutions have now taken control. The rich will get richer, and this does not help the working class whatsoever at the end of the day anymore. Or do you think it still offers some, you know, some benefit? You know, I still have to sit there and look at, like, basically without Ethereum, you didn't have the ability for the Argentinian, there, I don't know, something like that. I remember I looked at it and then now I got confused of what you call them. But the residents of Argentina utilizing, you know, basically the Ethereum blockchain to be able to move their funds into stable coins when they were not allowed to, unless they were extremely rich in the area, do so otherwise. I think a lot of that was obviously powered by Ethereum. I think there's still use cases here. But I do feel like the SEC and the government, the US government in general, feels that, you know, the position that Ethereum currently is in means that they have some control over it. Now, how the SEC and the US government feel about having control over it and whether or not they actually have control over it are two separate things as well. Once again, I go back to kind of that idea that, like, you're not going to be able to regulate blockchain. However, when we get to proof of stake, it becomes a lot easier to regulate blockchain. especially if a majority of the nodes in the consensus are run on a platform that is controlled by the US government, such as AWS or Amazon Web Services. At that point, then yes, I think you do have more control over the network. If this was a proof of work scenario and a majority of the proof of work was being done on Amazon or AWS, etc., I guess supposedly they could use that to 51% attack the network, but it'd be a lot more difficult. They definitely couldn't use it to censor transactions, because as soon as they started censoring transactions, Joe Schmo with a USB stick mining Bitcoin could just validate that sanctioned transaction or that censored transaction, and boom, it's good to go. But if AWS or Amazon decides to start shutting down nodes or start censoring transactions, I think it's a lot easier at this point than it is on proof of work. So this is really interesting. Definitely gonna have to follow it. Definitely gonna have to sit down and dig into specifically how Ethereum's proof of stake network works. I think that's going to be extremely important, and understanding that as we move forward. But I think we have a pretty good grasp on it. Why do I think we have a pretty good grasp on it? Well, everything that we've said was going to happen has happened so far. Which is, at this point, obviously not ideal. You would rather be wrong in this situation than correct, right? That's how I feel. I would rather be wrong and proven wrong in this situation than being proven correct, because I think for cryptocurrency in general, obviously, I want that to succeed. I would actually even want Ethereum to succeed, be decentralized and not controlled. But if we look at what the truth is, it's just the fact of the matter is this has become centralized and put under the control of the US government. At least the US government thinks it has control. And the thing is like, if the US government thinks it has control, they will do things to establish that control, right? And that's been proven out throughout history in the way the US reacts, especially in financial terms. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.